With her ethereal appearance and emotionally charged songs, Stevie Nicks has long been a distinctive voice in rock. Her 76-year-old reputation is based on decades of #1 singles, legendary live performances, and intensely personal lyrics, influenced by the people and events that have followed her throughout her career. However, a lesser-known aspect of her life is hidden behind the music and mystique, one that revolves on a strong, long-lasting love that she seldom ever discusses. Nicks is now talking about the individual who made a lasting impression on her heart for the first time. Passion, grief, and the type of connection that endures over time are all present in this tale. She never really let go of this man, who served as the inspiration for some of her most memorable songs. The musical careers of Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham started at Menlo Atherton High School in California in the 1960s. Their first encounter resulted in a close personal and professional bond that influenced rock and roll's destiny. Their intricate and imaginative partnership went on to become as famous as their harmonies. They performed together at a senior celebration when they were still in school, displaying a spontaneous vocal synchronization that alluded to the upcoming legendary collaboration. Their careers momentarily diverged after college, but 2 years later, Buckingham asked Nicks to join his band, Fritz. Their career in rock music began with this collaboration. They soon found themselves opening for well-known performers like Janis Joplin and Jefferson Airplane, which threw them into the exhilarating high-stress world of rock music in the 1960s. Nicks and Buckingham became closer as Fritz waned in the early 1970s. As a pair, they developed from simple lovers, expressing their feelings and desires via their music. Buckingham Nicks, their first album together, was released in 1973. Despite not being a commercial success, the record laid the groundwork for their future and attracted Mick Fleetwood, who extended an invitation that would change their lives. For the duo, joining Fleetwood Mac in 1975 was a significant turning point. Although their joining the band gave the group fresh vitality, it also caused a great deal of stress in their relationship. The pressure started to show during the recording of the groundbreaking album Rumors. Their relationship began to deteriorate due to the difficulties of their unexpected fame and the pressure of their creative process. The relationship between Nicks and Buckingham had reached a breaking point by 1976, when Rumors was being recorded. However, the pain of their split served as the inspiration for some of the most iconic rock songs ever written. In response, Buckingham penned the visceral, angry energy of Go Your Own Way, while Nicks composed Dreams, a moving song about lost love. Millions of people were moved by their candid musical expressions of their own hardships, putting Rumors among the all-time best-selling albums. Despite certain challenges, Nicks and Buckingham's musical partnership persisted even after their emotional engagement ended. Their conflict turned into a defining characteristic of Fleetwood Mac, bringing passion to their live performances and enhancing the intricacy of their lyrics to enthrall audiences. Following her turbulent split with Buckingham, Nicks found herself pursuing a whole new degree of notoriety and creative endeavors. She met J.D. Souther during this whirlwind, and he had a brief but significant impact on her romantic life. In the thriving Los Angeles music scene of the early 1970s, Stevie Nicks and J.D. Souther initially met. In the country rock scene, Souther was already well known, having established himself with his own music and penning 3 major singles for the Eagles. Nicks, who was riding high on Fleetwood Mac's success and fresh after her breakup with Lindsey Buckingham, connected with Souther, who was aware of the emotional roller coaster that comes with being in the spotlight. There was an electrifying chemistry between them. Their connection transcended physical desire and tapped into a deeper creative kinship. Both were acclaimed for their poignant performances and passionate lyrics. Despite their brief romance, it was characterized by a mutual appreciation of one another's artistic abilities and a love of music. But the music business that united them also presented some significant obstacles. Women were frequently marginalized or viewed primarily through the prism of their connections with male artists in the highly male-dominated music scene of the 1970s. Nicks was adamant about establishing herself as an artist. However, she had to manage these business concerns while juggling her personal life with Souther. She saw that men artists, like as Souther, were given respect and privileges that were frequently denied to female artists. Nicks was aware of this disparity, particularly as she was rising to prominence as a female rock musician. She continued to resist these restrictions as their relationship developed, use her expanding platform to support other women in the field as well as herself. Ironically, her relationship with Souther seemed to strengthen her resolve to be recognized for her skill rather than her love relationships. Even though their relationship was brief, it had a significant influence on Nicks's creative growth. Souther's knowledge of music and connections in the larger music industry opened Nicks's eyes to new possibilities and sources of inspiration. Nicks's distinctive style as a singer and performer was greatly influenced by their connection, both personally and professionally. After their breakup, Nicks channeled her feelings into her songs. Her songwriting further emphasized themes of power, independence, and the need for recognition. This period of her life is often said to have impacted songs like Has Anyone Ever Written Anything for You and After the Glitter Fades. Despite the fact that Nicks has always kept her inspirations a secret, after the initial thrill of her brief affair with Souther subsided, Nicks was drawn into what would turn out to be the most complicated relationship of her love history. A significant and complex part of Nicks's personal life was her relationship with Mick Fleetwood, which was intimately related to the turbulent and creatively vibrant dynamics of Fleetwood Mac. In the end, their bond shaped both their band's trajectory and the broader rock music landscape. The turbulent environment of Fleetwood Mac in the late 1970s served as the backdrop for their romance. The band was at the height of their fame thanks to the success of their seminal album Rumors, but behind the scenes personal relationships were falling apart. Mick Fleetwood and Jenny Boyd were in a delicate marriage, while Stevie Nicks had recently ended her long-term romance with Lindsey Buckingham. Nicks and Fleetwood were drawn to one another in the midst of intense emotional conflict and creative energy. They developed a passionate but complex romance as the boundaries between their personal and professional lives blurred. There were many highs and lows in Nicks and Fleetwood's relationship. They had a brief affair amid a period of hectic tour schedules, extensive studio sessions, and constant media and bandmate attention. Fleetwood Mac's music was significantly influenced by this affair. Their songs had a very raw vibe from the emotional roller coaster they experienced, which truly connected with people. However, it also made the group dynamic quite dramatic. With all of that personal turmoil going on, the other members had to deal with the ramifications while attempting to maintain professionalism. It was particularly difficult for Buckingham to witness his ex with another band member. Nicks and Fleetwood's romance wasn't meant to continue, like many partnerships that emerge from such a chaotic environment. However, it didn't mean they couldn't remain close when the romantic phase was over. With Fleetwood Mac, Nicks and Fleetwood had to figure out how to continue working together, transforming their relationship into a close friendship and creative partnership. Although things weren't always easy, it demonstrated their dedication to the band and to one another. Following a difficult period with Fleetwood, Stevie Nicks became enthralled with yet another music industry star. She was enjoying the success of Fleetwood Mac's massive album Rumors in 1977. The Eagles' drummer and co-lead singer Don Henley was also playing at his best. There was instant chemistry between these two music icons. Both Nicks and Henley were renowned for their captivating live performances and ability to convey intense feelings via their catchy tunes. Their mutual appreciation of music and their awareness of the demands of celebrity made them a fantastic duo. However, the same fierce love that united them also brought them their demise. There was a lot of tension from balancing the demands of their bands with the difficulties of being in a public relationship. Things were rather unstable because to their strong personalities, the wild traveling lifestyle, and the temptations of being in the spotlight. Amidst their intense connection, Nicks encountered an unexpected event that fundamentally altered their relationship. She discovered she was expecting a child. A roller coaster of emotions and difficult choices resulted from this revelation. With hectic tour schedules and album-related obligations, Nicks and Henley were both at pivotal junctures in their careers. Although the thought of having children was alluring, it didn't seem to mesh with their future plans. After a great deal of introspection, and probably agonizing consideration, Nicks decided to end the pregnancy. Despite being extremely personal, this decision would have a significant impact on both her and Henley. It turned into a turning point in their relationship that would influence how they interacted for years to come. Their love connection gradually deteriorated as a result of this choice. Their young romance was unable to handle the pressure of their work and the weight of what may have been. However, the influence of their time together would endure via their music long after their romantic relationship ended. Her musical career and the early 1980s music scene were greatly influenced by the special chemistry between Stevie Nicks and Jimmy Iovine, which combined their professional and personal relationships. Iovine was a rising producer who had worked on Nicks's debut solo album, Belladonna, and Nicks was already a rock star. There was a lot of chemistry between them right away. Nick's distinct sound was easy for Iovine to grasp and enhance, and his motivation was exactly the same as hers. The professional aspect of their connection began to change into a more personal one as they worked together in the studio for extended periods of time. Both their personal and professional lives underwent significant change as a result of the production of Belladonna. Their increasing relationship was spurred by their mutual passion for producing something extraordinary, the closeness of that creative process, and those late hours spent making music together. Iovine was more than simply a gifted producer, according to Nicks. He truly understood her artistic idea and contributed to its realization. Their collaboration became increasingly challenging as their connection grew. Iovine had a greater impact on Nicks's music, helping to create the sound that would define her solo career. Notable outcomes of their collaboration included the songs Edge of 17 Inches and Stop Draggin' My Heart Around. But there were difficulties in their connection. Iovine was busy establishing himself as one of the industry's leading producers, while Nicks had to balance her obligations to Fleetwood Mac while beginning her solo career. It was difficult to maintain a love connection while maintaining a business partnership in the high-stress world of rock and roll. The importance of their friendship endured in spite of these obstacles. Even when their personal connection changed, they were able to maintain their professional collaboration while balancing the delicate boundaries between their past closeness and their current partnership. Their influence on one another's lives and professions continued even after their love connection ended. With his co-founding of Interscope Records and subsequent pivotal involvement in the establishment of Beats Electronics, Iovine rose to prominence in the music business. Despite facing personal struggles, Nicks persisted in riding the waves of popularity. Tragic events occurred in 1982 when Robin was pregnant with her first child and received a fatal leukemia diagnosis, just as Nicks was seeing success in her solo career. Nicks was dealing with the imminent death of her best friend when she received this heartbreaking news. Nicks committed herself to being there for her buddy in her last moments as Robin's condition deteriorated. Kim Anderson, Robin's husband, was also devastated, which resulted in a close bond and a choice that would subsequently be seen as a foolish attempt to fulfill Robin's final desire to take care of her kid. 3 months after Robin's death, Nicks and Anderson abruptly decided to be married. Their friends and family were shocked and worried about their marriage. Many thought it was a rash decision made more out of sadness than genuine love. Eventually, Nicks would admit that the marriage was an attempt to assume a maternal role and preserve Robin's memories. Their differences became apparent as the close friendship that had grown between them, following their shared tragedy, began to wane. Although Nicks enjoyed her rock and roll lifestyle's freedom and thrill, it started to feel like too much responsibility at home. Conversely, Anderson found it difficult to adjust to Nicks's rigorous work schedule. After only 8 months of marriage, they made the decision to part ways, and in 1984 they formally filed for divorce. A significant period in Stevie Nicks' life, their relationship with Joe Walsh was marked by passion, difficulties, and a melancholy conclusion that affected both of them and their work. When they first started dating, they were both at the top of their professions in the late 1970s. Walsh was already well known for being a fantastic guitarist, and Nicks was killing it with Fleetwood Mac and her solo work. The fact that Nicks believed she had a real partner in Walsh was what made their relationship unique. They were on equal footing, each succeeding in their separate professions, and they came together with a great deal of respect and regard for one another. Their shared passion for music brought them together, encouraging and motivating one another to be more creative. Nicks frequently referred to Walsh as her soulmate, demonstrating how much she valued him. However, their relationship was strained by the burden of celebrity and their personal hardships. They decided it was better to split up after a few years of dating. Even though their romance ended amicably, Nicks's life and music were greatly impacted by their time together. His influence may still be heard in her work, and Walsh remained a close confidant and friend. In retrospect, Nicks was grateful that her relationship with Walsh was equal and supportive, in contrast to her previous partnerships that were characterized by rivalry or power conflicts. As artists and individuals coping with the demands of celebrity, they truly understood one another. Walsh served as an inspiration for some of Nicks's most poignant songs over their very creative journey. Despite their shared struggles with addiction, his guitar playing complemented her voice flawlessly. Their relationship just got closer in spite of those difficulties. They were more than simply lovers, they joined forces in their individual conflicts. They became closer as a result of sharing the highs and lows of celebrity, which Nicks hadn't often experienced in past partnerships. Their music reflected the depth of their love, but they ultimately came to the realization that they needed to part ways in order to concentrate on their own healing. Although it was a difficult choice for them both, they made it out of love and a desire to protect one another. Following their split, Nicks experienced a difficult period of melancholy and introspection. Later on, she revealed that parting ways with Walsh was one of the most difficult things she had ever done. Her creativity was stimulated by the sorrow of their separation, and their bond managed to endure. They succeeded in transforming their love into a close and enduring friendship. Their capacity to remain close, even after their breakup, demonstrated how much they truly cared for one another. Both Nicks and Walsh reflected on their relationship years later with a mixture of sadness and longing. Walsh had impacted Nicks in a manner that no one else could, and she was still in love with him. Her music has been greatly influenced by that lyrical atmosphere, which enables listeners to identify with her experiences on a personal level. Nicks's ability to transform her own experiences into universally relatable narratives is what distinguishes her as an artist. Her songs resonate with listeners because they speak to universal emotions of love, grief, and resiliency, despite the fact that they are sometimes quite personal. Nicks has a remarkable ability to turn particular events from her life into poignant stories about nostalgia, desire, and life lessons learned. Additionally, she has developed a unique relationship with her audience as a result of being open about what motivates her songs. Her songs reveal the strands of her romantic ups and downs, as like they're seeing a peek of her private life. Fans have been enthralled by Nicks's transparency for years, viewing her not only as a rock star but also as a person who resonates with them on a personal level. Her songs clearly reflect her evolving views on relationships and love. Her later compositions frequently show a deeper and more contemplative view of love, even if the intense loves of her early years created furious pieces. This development reflects Nick's own path, turning him from a young lady negotiating the tumult of passion to an accomplished artist with a wealth of life lessons to impart.